Melony Ann Walls. You know who I am. I just wanted to say it was not meant to turn out this way. None of it was. I will tell you why, in chronological order, as the best that I can, with what ability that I have. I'm hiding this because of the broken teeth, and it just helps a little bit. The first order, when we first met, was I said that I, at the time, and had capability at the time, to be in supervisor or management position, so I can make better money. You ragged on me and said, I can't, for weeks and months until I finally just gave up. And it seemed like the only job that you were happy with me having was a janitorial job or a landscaping job. You argued at everything else, saying that I wouldn't be able to do it, when you didn't know me and what I was doing before. It broke my heart and made me angry and bitter that I carried, and unable to forgive. That went on for years. And then you kept mentioning the thing about Brian. Brian this, Brian that. Sometimes you'd slip up. And always the Brian that broke me. And I thought you were cheating on, considering he had the same color hair and things, or similar. I don't remember at this present time, it just seems similar. And then when you would call out his name in the middle of the night, and even during, while we were doing our thing, you've done that twice, and then you'd call out someone else's name. I was definitely sure you were cheating. Why else would you do that? And so it broke me. And I wanted to move away, and we did, thinking that would help. It did not. I asked you to help me to move away from allergies and mold and black mold and such. And you were very stubborn and argumentative. I already had broken heart and bitterness and things growing inside me that I did not want, that I did not. It changes a man, it changes anybody. I'm having a hard time keeping all this together because I'm not exactly the same. And the point being that it seemed like you didn't have any faith in me. And then when Mr. Terry was being born, you wouldn't satisfy with me taking a leadership position that earns more money, but then at the same time you're complaining that I wasn't making enough money, that I couldn't hold a job. It's kind of hard when you come home and you got to think about things you wish you didn't have to think about. In any case, it made me angry, it made me bitter in ways that I did not know. I'm allergic to MSG and other molds and different things, and you just kept saying, I don't know what your problem is, and you fed it to me anyway, the MSG. That added to the anger and bitter and resentment. Then when I wanted to move out of that house that had the black mold that was so prevalent that we would clean the house in the morning and then come back and the white table would be black with the mold every day. and it messes with your head and messes with your heart and mind, and you didn't want to move. And you know that particular place in Arkansas where the thieves would try to come in the backsides every night, and or damn near every night. You didn't want me to do a damn thing about anything. It made me angry and made me bitter. And the black mold messed with my head, and the allergy medicine made it worse. It didn't help. It made me hyper aggressive, and the court systems, as you know, wouldn't allow me to produce any evidence. They wouldn't accept any medical records, and you know all this. And when you got that, when you went to a church, and when whatever you said, God, I can't think this. You came back from what I thought was a church. Mr. Joseph told me that you were at a man's house and that you told him that you were going to give him ice cream if he didn't tell me, but he was honest with me and he told me. That broke me, and after that I don't, everything is a blur-ish after that. And so after that I lost my mind, and then it's all a blur, and it's all, but it was never meant to be this way. I can't get emotional anymore because it will put me in a hospital. I've been through some bad things since then. Since then, I have been misled and abused by an ex-girlfriend that I was never supposed to be with. I left because you had given me MSG, and I was on the floor, shivering, shaking, sweating, can't move. And again, you said, "What's your problem?" and stepped over me, and you went to work. And this is the day after you came home with a new car from someone that bought it for you. Or after you were, like I said, it's a bit of a blur. And I knew that I couldn't be around you anymore. And it's not what I wanted. I needed a break. And this other girl, I was going to help her and her family for 3 days, and I wanted to come back. But she kept threatening to slit her wrist, and I could not have good conscience on that and leave. So when you called and said to me, "Are you coming home?" all I could see is her opening her wrist and flesh and blood, and then her mother being upset over that too. And then I was stuck. I only wanted to be there for 3 days, and they will tell you that too. But she ended up being very manipulative and very abusive in ways that you have no idea. I ended up getting some kind of Stockholm syndrome too, a little bit, to be honest with you. But during this time, I was able to at least overcome the post-traumatic stress of a certain sort pretty well. But none of this was meant to be like this. I'm soft-hearted and I'm stupid when it comes to people. And anyway, I fully apologize, but I want you to understand what has caused me to be as this. I never stopped loving, and I never will. In fact, I still dream about you, even last night. You had more tattoos, even one under your chin or something like that. I don't know what that was about, but I just hope that you are doing well and you are happy. That's the bottom line. This was a video especially for Melony Ann Walls. If she ever... I had a stroke 2.5 some odd years because the ex-girl did things, and It's difficult sometimes, especially when the emotions are strong. I don't even get angry anymore or raise my voice. I can't. Just can't. So I'm normally okay, but this is very intense for me, and I'm actually scared to say anything because I feel bad about everything, even when some things aren't my fault, and even when some things were said about me that are not true. Like my mother, I still feel guilty over it, even if it's not true. Just is. Anyway, that's all. At least now you know.